So let's jump uh, into our workbench and see what we can do with how we can implement the trigger concept. So in this case, I want us to create a new database. I want us to create a new database. Let me check where I have that. So in here, we are starting by creating a new database, and this database is called the parks and recreation. I think I can just delete these. Let me delete that so that we can create it together. So and if you can remember how you are creating the database by using the create database. And in this case, you notice that I'm using if not exist just to check that the database does not exist. So you are create the database if not exist, and the database name is the parks and recreation. That is the database name that you're going to create. And I think you can just now execute these. We can execute this query. And I think you can see that the database has been created. If I refresh these, I should be able to see that schema here. That is called parks underscore and underscore recreation. So let's use this schema, and we shift to that by using the keyword use. So use and then the database name or the schema name. So after that, I want us to create a table uh, that is called employees underscore salary, and this table will have a number of constraints. Like in the employee ID, we want to be of type integer, and it will be our primary key. And this is the data that I want us to put in that table. So the first name, we have the last name, the occupation, and you notice all of these are variable characters, or what you call the varchar, and we are giving them a limit of 50 variable characters. So we have the occupation, again, it is of type variable character 100 maximum. And then we have the salary. Here we can just accept maybe 10 digits and two decimals. And then we have the department ID. By default, it's null. So we can again execute these to create that table. And I think it has executed. So if I was to maybe refresh this, we are supposed to get that table here. That is the employee salary. I also want us to create another table in that database that is called employees demographics. And now these employees demographics is the table that will hold data derived from an insert operation on this table. I think you are going to see that. So you notice that with these employee demographics, we just have like three fields whereby we are going to hold the employee ID, this one. We're also going to hold the first name, and also we are going to hold the second, the last name after a trigger has executed. So let me just run this very fast too. And if I'm to refresh these, let me check if I'm able to. Yes, I think you can see that we have now a table that is called employee demographics. So after that, I want us to insert dummy data. I just want us to insert dummy data. If you guys you checked the today's what the link that I shared this for yesterday's class, we had alerted some issues because of showing some I think the algorithm, the YouTube algorithms, they misinterpreted these table here that is called the customer. You know, it has some data that looks like for real people. I think it holds a lot of. I think the algorithm misinterpreted that for real customer data, and that is why the video for yesterday's class was flagged on the YouTube. So today we are going just to use the dummy data, and that is why I want us to do an insert in the employee salary. So if you guys you can remember how we were doing the insert, we use the insert into and then we name the table. That is insert into employee salary, and then we indicate the fields that we want to input. In this case is the employee ID, first name, last name, occupation, salary, and then the department ID. So the values that we are inserting are these. I just want to insert 3 records. So let me just execute this. I think it has executed 3 rows affected to indicate that we have added 3 records. Let's also add some sample data for the employee demographics. Let's do an insert again here. Good. I think that is it. So let's check if we have the data in this table. I think we can do that by, oops. Let me just try to execute this. You can see that for the employee demographics here, we just have two records. That is the record for Leslie Nope and Aaron Swanson. And then for the employee salary here, we have 3 records. We have the Resile Nope again, who is the deputy director. We have the Ron Swanson, who is the director, and we have Tom Harvard, who is an entrepreneur. And also you can note their salaries. So I want us to create a trigger that will be based on this column that is called salary. And that is what I want us to create next. And that is what I want us to create next. So let's create a create trigger that is called the employee insert. It's called the employee insert trigger. So we always start with this keyword that is called delimiter. I know some of us might start asking themselves why are we starting with delimiter? What the heck is delimiter? So delimiter is just a keyword that will help us to skip to in fact it will help us since the trigger has a number of lines, or what you can call has a number of lines, and we know that each and every SQL query ends with a semicolon. instead of having what instead of having now a semicolon in each and every query or each and every row here or line. So we use delimiter. We want to change. We want to change the. This one will help us to change the semicolon to these dollar signs. So it's kind of the normal one. You know, you guys, the normal what we always use a semicolon at the end of each query. So it's kind of changing these two. We are changing these to the dollar signs. So we always start with the delimiter and then two dollar signs, and then now we continue with the creating of our trigger. So as we have seen in the syntax here, we always start with the create trigger and then the trigger name. In this case, we are creating employee underscore insert. Then after that, we indicate when should these now be executed. We are saying that it is an after insert, and it's not just any insert. It's after insert on which table? That is the employee salary. So this trigger should execute when there is an insertion operation on employee salary. Then we want that trigger to execute for each and every row. If you were just to leave it without these, it means that it would execute just for one row and the first row in that case. So that is why we are saying for each row. So it should check for each row. So after that, now we begin our we begin our we begin our trigger. And this trigger, we wanted to do what? We wanted to like to check for insert. Is it to check for? We wanted to insert. We wanted to insert to employees demographic. So this is why we are telling our trigger to what to do. So in this case, we wanted to insert into employees demographic table, and there is a number of fields that we wanted to insert. That is the employee ID, first name, and the last name. And now we want to insert a number of values here. So the values will be now new dot the employee ID, new dot the first name, and new dot last name. So meaning that this is the this one is where was this? This is the referencing of the old data as O and the referencing of the new data as N. So we are told that this allows you to refer to new or old values for various DML statements. And in this case, that is why we are using new, because this one will be a new insert. Insert to will be a new insert from employee salary. So it's after you have inserted to the employee salary that you are going to derive some data from that query and insert it to employees demographic. And that is why we are using now the new employee underscore ID and a new dot first name and then new dot last name. And then we just want to everything that has a beginning, then it must has an end. And then we add our trigger here. So again, we escape that by we escape We escape this by using again the delimiter, and now we go back to the normal semicolon. That is why we have a semicolon here. So if you were to execute this, let's see what will happen after execution of these. So we are starting from, supposed to start from here where we have the delimiter, and up to where we have the last delimiter here. So let's execute this and see what happens. We can see that our delimiter has been created, our trigger has been created, and then we can see that by a successful execution here. And I think we are told that is 0 row affected. So let's just try to refresh these. I think we are done with that. Then after we have created that, we can now test we can move to the last step of testing the trigger. So let us just try a simple insert and see if our trigger will execute. So in this case, we are trying to insert into employees salary table, and I want to insert this data. So before we test these, let me just show you something here. Let's, I think you can do a select all from let's start with the employee. I think you can start with the employee salary, employee underscore salary. Then maybe we can have a semicolon here. Let's try to execute this. And this is the data that we have. You should note this. This is the data that we have before we execute, before we start testing our trigger. And also this is the data that we have select all from. This is employee underscore demographics. Let's see this. You can just execute this. You can see the data that we have. We have two records. In fact, we have two records in the demographic employees. So let's see what will happen to these after you have executed these. After you have executed this insert query here. So let's execute this. And you notice that it has executed successfully. So let's run this first to make sure that the employee ID number 13 has been inserted. That is the gene Ralphio. And the other data, you have the Sebastian and his occupation and the salary. So you notice that we have added a record here, but our main focus should be on what has just happened to these what has just happened to these table here. So let's execute this and see what has happened. And now you can see that we have a new, after inserting to employee salary, these some data has been added to employee demographics. That is a employee ID number 13 and Jean. The name here is the Jean Raffio. I think Sebastian or something. So that is what has just happened. So meaning that after we had an insertion operation here. This trigger is executed. Let me just try to minimize these. This a question. Okay. So you notice that after inserting this trigger is, so this, we can call this an event because it's an operation. After this operation, uh, it it leads to execution of this trigger, and our trigger is to insert into employee demographics, and we have a number of fields that we are inserting. So this happens. It doesn't have to be an insert operation. You can have maybe an update what? An update operation to happen within here, or what you want what maybe you want to happen after a certain operation has been done. So I think that is it with what with the triggers, unless there is any question on that. So any question? Do you have any question on that? Okay, thumbs up if you are together. I can see it was a bit there. We are good. We have Kezia, we have Erickson. What about the rest? Lynette, are we together? I can see most of us. We are good. Radovan, any question? Good. I think that's all about triggers, and I don't think we have anything else to add, Hapo. So maybe what maybe we can do after maybe a certain trigger has occurred. In this case, maybe I can delete that record. And you notice that here I'm indicating that this one is optional. This one is optional. It's just a cleanup. It's just a cleanup operation. So let me just execute these. And now you notice when I run these, has it executed really? Let me see the read from the employee underscore salary. This one should be employee demographics. That is employee demographics. So let's delete that. And if I execute these, I should be able to have two records. So that's all about triggers. So, and if there is no any question, let's get to our last part of our discussion. I told you I won't take much of your time today. So let's get to events and see what happens with events. And we start by asking ourselves what are events. And we say that an event is a MySQL in MySQL is a scheduled task that runs automatically at a specified time or interval. So, and of course, there is we can check the how these events are used. If they are used for automating some tasks, then how are they useful in database management or in MySQL databases? So the first thing is to clean up all the records. The second thing is setting automatic updates. And the last one is backing up data periodically. So let's say maybe you want to back up some data after a certain, maybe after 1 month, after 2 months, you do a data backup, setting automatic updates, maybe cleaning some old records from the database to create room for others. So that is the use cases for or the importance of having events. So with these with events, I'll just give a scenario, and in this scenario, we want to generate an auto archiving retired employees. So let's say you think of any organization here. You can talk of maybe you can think of an organization like Safaricom. So what happens when uh, maybe let's deal with a ministry, a government ministry. You can deal with the ministry of what? Ministry of water. Do you have ministry of water? I think we have ministry of water. So let's say we have ministry of water database here. So what happens after the the employees from that ministry they reach a certain age? I think the retiring age in Kenya is it 60? I don't know. I think it's 60. So what happens to the employee database after one has hit maybe 60 years? One thing we might want to clean up that database and shift those employees maybe within a certain age to a different database, maybe pension. You can move them to maybe pension database. So like now you don't have like to you don't have like to to keep checking like manually. You keep checking. Okay, has Mr. James reached 60 years? Has Mr. Gariuki reached 60 years? Has Mr. Who? I think you have. I think you can think of. You can think of other employees. Has they reached 60 years? You don't have to do that manually. You can set now an event to keep uh, to keep executing. Maybe after every month, it executes. After every month it executes. So that is the importance of now having events. So with this, we are going to have a scenario here. And in this scenario, we want to move employees who are 60 years or older from employee salary table to archive employee table. So this event should run every day at midnight to keep the records updated. You notice that we turn age at midnight. So I always see some people saying that some people keep awake until midnight, so that maybe they can post the status of the birthday. So in this case now we want to run this event after every midnight, just to make sure that we have updated database. So, and the first thing that I want to us to do again, I want us to with this scenario, I want us also to create a new database that is called company DB, and then we are going to create two tables. I think I had already created that schema, so let me just get. So let me just execute these. The create database if not exist. So let me just execute this command to create the database that is called what? Company database. I think I have it here. Let me just try to refresh these. Let me just delete these. Let's drop this schema. Good. And then I can now execute these. Let me try to refresh these to make sure that we have that database. Yes, we have the company DB underscore DB, and it has 0 tables. So to use that DB, we always use the keyword. They use company DB, and then after that we can create an employee salary table. And in this case, we want to create the employee salary table with these fields here. So we have the employee ID, first name, last name, age, occupation, salary, and the department ID. I think you can execute this very fast. And then also we want the archived employees. So these are awaiting, we are assuming that these records, they are awaiting to be taken to pension department. So let's execute these. So, and again, you notice that uh, with this archived employee, we have almost every field that is in this employee salary here. Because you can see we have fields that are such as age, occupation, salary, and then we must now indicate the timestamp at which the time at which these employee retired. So if I was to refresh these, I should be able to get two tables. That is the archived employees and the employee salary. So after that, I think we can just insert data to the employee salary, and we are going to insert 4 records, and based on these records, we have already 2 people who are supposed to retire here, meaning that they will no longer get salaries from their departments here. So you can see we have someone like Bob Smith who is having 65 years, 65 years, and we have David who is 62, who is 62 years. So let's execute these to insert those records. Let me just execute this very fast. And we should be able to have, let me just try to select all from. This is employee underscore. salary. Just to make sure that we have the data. We have the data. So let me execute this. And as you can see that we have 4 records already. That is Alice, Dave, Bob, Charlie, and David. Uh, so we have those records already now. So step 4 now, we say that maybe by default an event scheduler might be disabled, and we can always check that. If it is disabled, we can enable, and if it is enabled, then again now we can proceed to create our event. How we check if the event scheduler is on is just or how we can set it on. We can use the set global the event scheduler, and then we set it to on. In most cases, I think it's always disabled. But now in my case, because I had executed this, it's already on. So I won't bother to execute this set global uh, event scheduler on. Maybe you can there is a command to check if it's on. I think if I can remember, the command is we always use show, and then we say variable like. You just have to say event, is it event schedule schedule, yeah. You need to add a percentage or something. Let me try this. If this execute variable is not a variable. Oops. Let me see this. We should work or something. Let me try to execute this. Hoping this one is with the SQL also it should execute. Is not a valid this position expecting others binary. Oops. Okay, just forget about this. I think this one execute in SQL Server. Maybe I'm confusing with the SQL Server. But anyway, let's forget about that. I'll check the command that relates to MySQL. I think it should execute, or maybe they have changed the command. I think it should be something of the sort. So, but basically, this is how we set the global event scheduler on. So let's proceed and create the scheduled event. Let's create a scheduled event here, and this is the syntax for it. We're also going to start with a delimiter and then two dollar signs. These are what we call dollar signs, so that we can escape the semicolon part. So let's see these. So we have the delimiter, and then we create event and then event name. So the event name here, it's archive underscore retired underscore employees. So and then we are saying we are scheduling this to happen on schedule every day, after every 1 day. So meaning that after every 1 day, something should happen. And in this case, we want to update our database. And then even we go ahead and set the timestamp. It should start at the current time, that is, we are setting it to 0000. This is midnight. And we are saying that when you are at this time, what do you want to do? So again, we begin. We want to move retired employees of age greater or equal to 60 to the archived employee table. So, and this is what now we are going to do here. We are saying that insert into archived employees, and I want to include all the fields here. So this is insert into archived employees. We set up the fields, and then we want to select these all these fields from the employee salary, where age is greater or equal to 60. So after that, we delete those employees from the original table. So after now we do that, we do an insert. We want to delete those employees from the original table. And that is why we are saying that we delete from the employee salary where the age is greater than 60. So meaning here we are doing two operations. First is the insert, and then after we insert all those records with age greater than 60, we delete them from this table. And then we have an end what? We do an end, we end what we began here, and we add the dollar signs. So let's run this and see if it will execute. I'm hoping it will execute. Yes, I think it has executed successfully. And we can see that, yeah, creative event archive returned employee, good. I think it has executed successfully. Right. So if you were to check to this, maybe if you were to check these, let us just check these two tables, what they have. Yeah, let's check what we have in these two tables. So after these, delimiter, so let's see the tables. What do they have? That is select all from employee underscore salary. This one should be from salary. So that's what we have in this table. And you notice that we have all the data here, the 4 records. Who can tell us the reason why we have all the four records and we have executed the event. Let me check who are following. So who can tell us the reason why we still have the Bob and David records and we have executed the event? Who can tell us the reason? I think you can have Sylvia. Sylvia, why do you think we have Bob and David records? Or any other person with who can guess the answer or who can tell us the answer? Sylvia, do you know the reason? You can text at the in-call messages, or maybe you can unmute your mic. What could be the reason? Kezia. We have executed the event, but still we have Bob who is 65 years old, and also we have David who is 62 years old. Who can tell us the reason? Atuze Bida, can you help us with this? What could be the reason? I think yes, we have. Is it Joseph? Joseph, what could be the reason? Or any other person with an answer? Radovan, and also I can see we have Moby, we have Eileen, Sharet. What would be the reason? We have executed the event and we still have these two records here. And the age exceeds the retiring age. Hey, you guys, are you really following? Who can give us the answer? Erickson? Maybe you can just get back to to what to what event is, or maybe I think you can just start from where our scenario starts. And I was saying that we want to move employees who are of age 60 years or older from the employee salary table to archived tables. And we are saying that this event should run every day at midnight to keep the records updated. So even after saying that, okay, who can give us the answer to why we have not, even after executing this event, we still have these records that have age greater than 60 years. Who can give us the answer? To why we have not even after executing this event, we still have these records that have age greater than 60 years. Maybe you can just get back to to what event is, or maybe you can just start from where the scenario our scenario starts. And I was saying that we want to move employees who are of age 60 years or older from the employee salary table to archived tables. 60. You can see we still have them. Can someone just tell us the reason? You can just guess. We are going to correct you. Anyone? I think the reason is just straightforward here. It's just a straightforward answer. Just from what we have here, that this event should run every day at midnight to keep the records updated. And what is the time now? The time is at 8:19. So meaning that it is at midnight. It's only after midnight when these can execute. I don't know if you are getting this. Have we together up to that point? Sylvia, it's only after midnight that these should execute. And even we went ahead and when creating this event here, we even indicated it's scheduled every day, and this should start. We are saying that starts timestamp current time, and we are setting it at midnight. That is the only time that these should execute, right? And that is why even when I execute these, I'm still going to I'm still going to have those records because the update will only happen after it's midnight. But we can invoke this trigger right now so that we can see if it's going to maybe it's going to if it is going to delete these. Maybe let's try to invoke these. And it's quite easy. Even before we invoke that, you can check the event if you have already created that event, and you can see from the show event from the company database that we have the company database. We have the name of our event here, which is archive uh, retired employees. We have the definer, the time zone, at the interval, even the interval. You notice that we are indicating even the interval, and the interval field is in days. And we are told that this will execute, it will start at 2025 February, date 18 at time 0000, which is midnight. And we can see the status of our event, that is it is enabled. And even there is other information such as the originator, character, set, client, validation, database. There is so much information on that, but this will execute at this time. Uh, and now, because we cannot stay here up to up to midnight so that we can see it execute, I think what you can do is try to invoke that event right now. And how do we do that? We can use the alter event, and then the name of our event, and then we do what? And then we can schedule it to execute now. So if I run this now, let me just try to run this and see if we are able to execute it right now. And we can see that the alter event this has executed. Maybe now we should check if we still have those retired people in our database. And now you notice that they have been removed. Now we have two records because we have changed the execution time for this. So if now you were to check the archived employees table, we should we should be able to get two records. So let's try and check that by selecting all from was the name of that table? It's archived. Should be archived employees. And now this is the beauty of having events. You don't have like to have to be there so that that one can execute, but you can set there. So and now you can see that Bob and David, we have them in our archived employees, and even we can see the time at which they were archived at. Like they were archived at 2025 February 18th. That is some billion 23 and some seconds. So this is what should have happened at midnight, but we have invoked it to to happen now. So any question regarding? I know that one was a bit tricky, but anyway, yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, it was executed. So any question on events? That is how they work. You can even schedule to back up a whole database just by having a single event. You can also set some automatic updates, and this one works very well. Um, this one, I think I can just give you I can give you a case that you can resonate with. You think of what happens or think of what happens when you subscribe to a certain maybe to a certain what maybe a certain program, or let's say the Wi-Fi scenario, whereby if you have not paid, you are not going to receive Wi-Fi. If you have paid, then you are going to you are going to you are going to like to enjoy the Wi-Fi. So those people, they can implement that in a number of ways. They can have all your data in the database, and then they should set an event, maybe to say maybe if you have not done some payment, maybe a certain event like should execute. If let's say your payment status is we can set maybe your payment status is unpaid. You are pushed to a certain database or a certain table that will not enjoy the Wi-Fi. If you have paid, if the status is paid, then it means that you are going to enjoy the Wi-Fi. Those are the kind of the kind of what the cases where you can use events. So I don't know if there is any question regarding events. You can try to implement some on your own. I'll share this file file with you. In fact, the two files, the triggers and I should save these. Yeah, the triggers and the events what? The events tables, so that at least you can try to figure out things on your own. So I think that is it. If no question, I think we can leave it at that point. I told you that I will not take much of your time. Those are the concepts that I wanted us to cover today. That is the triggers and events. So that now tomorrow we are going to check uh, how procedures and functions are used in databases. So, any question? Do you have any question from Radovan?
I think that was a bit intense, so please remember to post the video so that we can go back and look at it.
Okay. What about Ericsson? Ericsson has what?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
I think that is it. I think you guys, we can. I'll share those files in the group. Let's meet tomorrow for tomorrow's class. You guys enjoy your night. See you tomorrow. Have a good night.